Greetings and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Conflicted Space. I'm Wrath, and let's get into it. Now, I've gone ahead and removed the career aspect of my original plan for this game just because my schedule does not allow me enough time to really do all of the amount of recordings that I would have to and do all of the missions and stuff. So I'm just going with a basic design of various corporations competing for resources in the Kerbin system. Now, to start that off, we've done sort of a starter set of probes that we're going to be putting up, and that is this, the Joint Kerbal Association, the Joint Kerbin Aero-Space Association of Corporations. It's the first step of exploring and mapping the Kerbin system. The design will be made publicly available to all members of the JKASA for further scientific study. So basically anybody gets to use this one, and there will certainly be modified versions that show up later in the game as we start competing for resources and trying to keep information secret. So let's go ahead and get this out to the pad, and we will do our launch from there. Alright, here we are on the launch pad, ready to take this up into orbit. Now, I am terrible at this game because trying to get this thing into orbit, I've had recording problems with, things like the Air Force flying over my house. I've had issues with various catastrophes mid-flight, and so I want it to look like I'm good at this game, but I'm not. I mean, it's really that bad. I've had probably about 8 failed flights at this point. I can't even turn this rocket until it gets almost out of the atmosphere vertically in order to try and get it into something remotely approaching an orbit, which is not all that great. So I have a basic understanding of this game, and it's like, the aerodynamics and everything have changed a lot of the stuff about how I play, because I've always had things like MechJeb to do the work for me, because I really am that bad. Like, I just, getting MechJeb to do the work honestly has been a crutch that I've relied on a little bit too much in the earlier games. So I definitely have a lot of work ahead of me to make sure that I can make this look a lot better than I am, because I mean, even now, just trying to tip this just the tiniest bit, just the tiniest bit, just a tiny bit. No, don't go left. So maybe I should have put 4 stabilizing fins on it. That might have been a better choice. Wait for these engines to cut off. Because it's those bottom engines that seem to screw me up the most, and so I'm really thinking that my issues with this are almost purely a design problem more than anything else. So we're gonna go ahead and get an apoapsis of 120. Go to 130 and stop. Okay. Let's start pushing this down. So I want to get facing north. Okay. Nope, let's get just a little bit below the horizon. Just like 5 degrees. Okay. Alright, and we're going to just go from here, and hopefully this will be enough to get us a good solid. Let's see here, that's going up a little bit, but I need to get
See how much we got left in the stage, because that's what's going to matter. The staging always seems to screw me up with this thing. But I need to save at least the last stage for... Let's try to convert this more into horizontal energy. So like I said, I have a basic understanding of how this is all supposed to work, but it doesn't really translate well because I'm an idiot. So, I mean, that's about the nicest thing I can say for my abilities with this, is that I'm about an idiot. So now we need to get this back up here to our velocity vector here. Get on it. Okay, we need to get back to our... Okay, come on. Give me something remotely approaching an orbit, and I will bless you forever. Oh, come on. See, this is why I need orbital launch pads, because I can't get anything into orbit myself. I'm like, hello, I'm completely dumb. Alright. Oh. So, I mean, if you're bad at this game, don't feel bad, because I'm worse. I can't stress it enough that I'm just terrible at this game, and I don't... You know, it's like, I follow all of the information, and it all makes perfect sense, and I still fail. Okay, that's an orbit. I will fix it next time around and not worry about it too much. Let's put a node here to bring that in. 150, 120. 130, 120. Okay, that's agreeable. That will do. Put this thing on target, and let's ditch our cowling. I always love that effect. That is so cool. Let's go ahead and extend our panels. Actually, let's not do this. Let's kill that one, and let's get up here to our apoapsis. No, not there. Right above it. So I think you're supposed to be when you're on an equatorial plane with this. Is when you're supposed to add a maneuver. So right about there. And we want to... Nope, not that way. That way. Okay. That ought to do it. I think that's efficient. So now let's get into our positioning here. Turn our RCS on. Have this thing get into its position. And that will be up in 16 minutes. So let's advance time a little bit. And here's another part where I get myself into a lot of trouble. Is I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I'll just time warp, and then I overshoot my mark and fail drastically. So yeah, I mean, if you feel bad about how, you know, if you're having trouble with this game, join the club. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not. So most of the people I've seen online say you have to do this at about 30 seconds ahead of time is when you have to start your burn, because otherwise it doesn't work. And I'm guessing that that's true. I don't know, but I'm going to go with it because it's an 11-second burn. I should be able to get this done no problem. 3, 2, 1, go. Burn, 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 burn. And always wait for that little thing to turn green, and ding, we're done. Okay, let's check that. Hey, that's perfect. And we have, oh, our apoapsis is hugely high. So let's take this one off. And then let's go down to our periapsis here. And just do a retrograde burn. 180, 140, 150, 140. Okay, there we go. So we'll just use this to get ourselves in position, and that should be retrograde as we come over the other side. So, and that's another 17 minutes. Yeah, see, I've watched like Scott Manley and Macy Dean and all sorts of other guys, and they make this look easy. They make it look like, oh, you're an idiot if you can't get this. It's easy. And it's like, no, you know, it helps because, you know, Scott Manley, I think, is actually a freaking rocket scientist in real life. At least, I mean, he knows enough about it to, I mean, if you listen to him talk, he knows all sorts of stuff about rockets and rocketry history and everything else. And I mean, it makes me feel dumb by not being able to fly as well as people who obviously know this a fair bit better than I do. Okay, cut the engine. Let's check that. Okay. 145 and 152. That's great. Okay. Get rid of this. Okay. So, we have it, and that looks to be a straight polar freaking orbit. So if that doesn't do it, I don't know what will. So let's go ahead and deploy the Joint Kerbin Aero-Space Association satellite. Let's go ahead and put our comms devices out so that it can relay its data back to the surface of Kerbin. We're all greatly anticipating what we will find. And we're going to put it in an anti-radial position so it's pointing at the ground. Okay, let's perform an orbital scan. And whoa, that just chews right through the power there. Okay, I did not plan that out. Well, it almost has enough power. So future designs will have to be obviously upgraded to have enough power to withstand a scan from this thing, because it's taken forever. So it obviously needs more than 1,000 charge, because it doesn't say. Okay, there we go. We've got the scan, and it just collapsed one of our little dishes here. Okay, why are you? Oh well. It decided, but that gives us our scan. So let's see what our orbital scan did for us. Let's first change the color, because I like the green heat map. And let's see here. 0%, 10%. 40, 50, 60, 70. Oh, there we go. Now it's got something going on here, so let's go to the map here. So, yeah, so we've got a lot of it right out here in the middle of the ocean, which means we may need to do some ocean mining. There's some on the continents here. But wow, yeah, it's mostly in the water. Interesting. So there will be some definite competition for any good spots. There might be a spot for mining, and the desert looks like it's got a little something. Let's go ahead and see what it has to say about the other ore that's in the game from for having interplanetary launch pads. This is regular ore, because this was metal ore. All right, so this is the stuff for interplanetary launch pads, which is mostly in. Ooh, what is that little island right down there? Could be a good spot. And I don't know how to read this, whether the green is more or less. But there's some very isolated spots that are not underwater. I wonder if we can do mining in the water. Looks like there's a good spot right there. These little islands here. So likely the companies, if we're going to do any mining on Kerbin, there's going to be some hefty competition for these spots in order to pick out where we want to get everything going. So that's, wow, yeah. So that's the metal ore, and now let's go back and see what the regular ore, which is used for fuels mostly, looks like, and that says another average 3%. And that is pretty much nowhere. Let's see here. It does not like that at all. So 70%. Okay, 60% is where it shows up. So that's more common, but still, and that's easily on the land masses. But it's definitely the metal ore that's going to be of interest. However, I don't think there's going to be a lot of competition on Kerbin for these materials. It's going to be eventually the moon as we start to expand outward. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few more missions to get satellites placed on the moon and around Minmus, if we can find Minmus. Where is Minmus? There it is, on Minmus. And we will see what the Joint Kerbin Aero-Space Association comes up with. Till next time, I'll catch you on the flip side. Goodbye.